Howdy y'all, this is the Losman here, and I'm doing a lazy Sunday movie roundup here. Looks like I'll be making this a routine thing, so that way I can get back with you every week and let you know what's going on. And the nature of this is going to be spontaneous, so there's not going to be much editing, if any. I want to be able to make this as organic as you can get. Basically, me just setting up my iPhone here, hitting play, and then just going with the flow and going with what's on my mind. Now, this past week, I had some interesting events come up. I watch my movies and I go through my routine. And funny thing happened on Thursday. I got a text alert from the Alamo Draft House about an event with Don Coscarelli, the director of Phantasm. Now, I was not aware of this event, and luckily I was able to snag a ticket to it. Apparently, Don Coscarelli came to San Antonio and was hosting a 40th anniversary viewing of his movie Phantasm. Now, if you're familiar with Phantasm, it's one of the best indie horror movies out there. The viewing was awesome. It was from the new 4K print that's going to be coming out pretty soon on Blu-ray and 4K. And we got to take a look at his new book here, True Indie. Got mine signed, and it's a good summation of his career as an independent film director, and that was pretty neat. Now, the rest of the week, I pretty much try to watch as many movies as I can. It was a rather light week because I was rather busy with working and trying to figure how am I going to watch all these movies I want to watch for my Losman 300. What I did check out, though, was on Joe Bob Briggs' movie Roundup, The Last Drive-In. He basically featured this movie, The Changeling. Now, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a ghost movie featuring George C. Scott. It came out in 1980. It's about a older man who basically encounters a personal tragedy, and in his recovery, in getting over his grief, he basically moves into a very old mansion and discovers a mystery that is occurring, receiving clues from some supernatural source. He then seeks out the answers and tries to find out what happened in that house all those years behind. The Changeling, like I said, came out in 1980 and is one of the best haunted house ghost movies that came out in that era. And I highly recommend watching it. It's an outstanding movie. And the Joe Bob Briggs version of it was pretty good. He didn't slam it at all or make fun of it. He just pointed out what a great movie it is and how it is. It's a really great movie. And the once again, the Blu-ray that I have is from Severin. It's recently released, and it's a really good print of the movie. Another event that occurred that was kind of interesting was my car needing to get serviced. So when I was at Walmart, I picked up this beautiful Tucker and Dale versus Evil Steelbook, and it's pretty impressive. It has on the back, it has a what looks like a beer can with an axe and a chainsaw. So for those of you who are familiar with Tucker and Dale versus Evil, it's one of the best meta horror movies of the past decade, and probably one of the best horror comedies ever made. It's great. It's outstanding. If you've never seen it before, you should really check it out. It's really that good. Now, when it came to movie watching, I pretty much checked out two movies this week, and one of them was called VHS Massacre. It is a documentary series that's available on Amazon Prime, and it is distributed by Troma. The movie is a pretty much a documentary on the rise and fall of the VHS video industry in the 1980s and 1990s. You have some great interviews in there. It starts off with an introduction by Joe Bob Briggs. You then also have some interviews with Lloyd Kaufman, the owner of Troma Entertainment, and some actresses such as was it Leslie Rochon or Miss Rochon? Basically, she's a popular actress who's been in a lot of movies. I know I'm gonna kick myself for forgetting her first name, but basically, it's a good documentary series. Just check it out. One of the things that really appealed to me was growing up in the 1980s. I basically would go to my local mom and pop video store, Pop and Go, and I'd be able to rent scary movies. And one of the neat things about renting scary movies back then was you didn't have YouTube back then. A lot of times the movies that you rented were based purely on the box art. You would pick up a box, you would look at the cool picture on the front, flip it around, read the description, and say, do I want to watch this? And sometimes when you put the movie in, you got some previews to other movies. Some of them you probably would recognize, most of them you didn't. But that's okay, because that's what made the renting movies in the 80s pretty awesome. Also in the 90s too. I mean, it pretty much carried over into the late 90s until Blockbuster essentially put most of these companies out of business. And it's a great miniseries, so I really recommend checking it out. The other movie that I basically checked out was called The Nest. It's a movie from the 80s, I believe, and it concerns a small town that is, actually it's a small island that gets infested with cockroaches. It's a very gross movie. Just, I mean, I don't have a problem with bugs, but I know a lot of people do, and if you have a problem with bugs, you're gonna basically not like this movie. It's very quite icky, but it's a B movie. It's kind of gross and weird and yucky, but it's fun. It's the perfect kind of B movie to put on late at night if you're like wanting to watch something kind of silly and pointless. So pretty much that was the week. Now, in a couple of weeks, we're going to have some major events going on. First of all, Texas Frightmare Weekend is going to be next month in about 3 weeks, so I'm going to definitely catch that. I mean, there's a lot of celebrities I want to go check out, so I'll be doing videos, basically going through my adventure in Dallas and getting some autographs and meeting some interesting, great people. Going to also look for some more movies to look around. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to my friend Caledonian Roses, who made this beautiful shirt, this Alucarda shirt that I ordered from her, and she made the shirt, and she's selling them on her eBay page, and it's very good. If you really want a neat shirt, I mean, this is a really good quality shirt. I mean, this is not some cheap little iron-on. This is vinyl, and it's very good, very well made. You can check out her eBay page. Send her. Just send her a DM, or you can get a hold of me, and I can get a hold of her. I know her personally, and I know she'd really appreciate it, because she really loves horror movies, and this is a movie that she was really excited about, so that's why she made this shirt. And she has told me that she's going to make some other shirts, so we'll keep an eye out for more of her shirts, and I'll be more than happy to wear them and showcase them and let her get some business out there, because I think she's a very talented young lady and she truly loves horror movies. So if you want to reach out to me, you can find me at Losman94, and I'm on basically all the Twitter. I'm on the Instagram. Got my website, losman.com. Got my blog page, which can be linked in there. Check out my classic website from the old days, or as I like to call it, the original site, TOS. I think I'm going to go with that, though, pretty soon. But, yeah, so this is another weekly roundup at my, to give you, that I'm going to continue doing, something spontaneous and fun. So, as I like to do, is just recommend watching movies. Go out there, watch the movies, enjoy, share them with friends. Let people know what you like to watch, and don't be afraid to admit that you love horror movies. So this is the Los Man. I'm signing out for another week. Wishing you a good evening.